Greetings. I'm feeling like sharing something else tonight, mainly because I was going through some exchanges with my cousin. Him and I write back and forth. We've kind of started this pen pal thing because whenever we get together, we have these never ending, profound conversations that just completely blow my mind every time. And we decided we got to write about it and have some, we call it our correspondences. And it's kind of enlightening just to have a conversation with somebody about anything as deeply as we can. But one thing that we talk about a lot is just thought and, the nature of thought, thinking about thought, defining thought, all this stuff, foundations of anything. And we connected thought and prayer and God and everything, and said it's really easy to say it's all just one and connected, but there's obviously tons of ways to say it. And through language, I think it's a gift to be able to try to be creative with it in ways to try to tell the same good love story over and over and over again in the most unique ways. But I mean, ultimately with God, everything is just the same story. It's in everything. When it comes to thought in us. And so I was basically like, hey, I'm going to meditate on thought. I'm going to really think about it. And I'm going to see what comes to me. And lo and behold, I wrote something I just called Heavenly Contemplation. And I sent it to him. And I mean, we give each other copies and stuff. So this is why I still have it. And what's fun is we're going to be old men looking back on it, being like, oh, look what we were writing back in our 30s and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. But that's a personal thing. And even though it's personal, it's something that applies to everything because we're talking about God. We're talking about how everything is connected. And this is something I want to share out here to people, is to feel the connection. And if you feel any kind of confusion, I still have confusions. Everybody, I think, has confusions about things. But whenever I really think about things with this intent, words just come to me. I don't understand. I really don't know. I wish there was more to explain to it. But I love to write in the process, so I write. And this heavenly contemplation is something that I think needs to be shared beyond our pen palship. And he knows I write books, and he'd be cool with it. But anyway, I'm going to give this one a share with you guys. Okay. I sleep, but first pray. I dream, but first envision. I wake and gratefully praise life. I live and keep a good God in mind. I act and harmonize with the reactions. I speak and I try to live those words. I teach and I learn with each lesson. And I write and I let love guide the pen. And I think and I continue to dig with further thought. And it is here that I realize that thought is inescapable while conscious and aware. And I understand that being conscious and aware means to be alive. And I value my life and surroundings with that conscious and awareness. And I'm always brought back to thought, no matter how much I contemplate upon something. And it's unending observation while conscious and aware. And I realize that thought is prayer. And then if faith is solidified into knowing that connection to thought is inescapable to God, because prayer is the honest inner conversation to God through the nature of thought. And what is God? God is solid. God is fluid. God is whole. God is each part that makes the whole. And since thought or prayer is inescapable also to our awareness here, then we are forever connected to God's loving wisdoms of good health and compassionate guidance. And then it is there that there is no true habitable environment for fear to manifest as energetic alchemy. You see, fear deteriorates faith when given a habitable environment. And fear gains this environment by spreading some form of doubt. And this doubt is made possible through misguidance or deception or abandonment, though the three are far more detrimental when intentfully combined. And as deep as we go with any theory or detail towards this existence and awareness foundation, we have to confront that we are still in thought or prayer and its inescapable nature. And in that nature, there's this humbling feeling that I know that wisdoms are to be trustworthy for healthy growth simply through lessons learned with experience and contemplation upon the nature of healthy survival. And creativity is a healthy outlet of growth, and it is at its most potential when awareness is dialed in and focused on the nature at hand. And we do all this with thought, with awareness, simply by being alive and gifted this conscious we are all undoubtedly a part of. Good lessons, when learned, they don't defeat, but they overcome hatred and deception. For there is no force or fight to be won other than to dissolve the idea of thought or fighting through the humble learning and understanding of God's good, healthy, compassionate guidance. And I say God because it is something any believer or non-believer would recognize as an idea of wholeness and connectivity. See, I believe pitting religions to fight and quarrel seems more so a clever deception or distraction. For there is no healthy growth to be observed in that mindset. There's only division. And division is an illusion to think that you can escape thought or conscious awareness. So, we teach with the more awareness and insight that is gained. We preach when one is in need of inspiration to understand. And we love unconditionally because it is in our nature to love. Hatred is lack of love, just as darkness is lack of light. Where it is just as easy to love hatred as it is to shine light in a darkened place and illuminate the surrounding beauty. Misguidance has tried to wreak havoc, but the truth is the more who get angry at it help it grow. The deceptions stop within you when you become more aware than them. And you become more aware than them by establishing your thought and your awareness as whole and one with God's good, compassionate guidance. And when you're aware that you cannot escape thought, but can use it in great, healthy ways, then this is when God is answering your prayers and working through and with you. And this is where evils dissolve and have no presence or dictation of structure. Evils disappear inside of you when you stop giving them your awareness and conscious thought. And when you gain this awareness, you seek to help others know these healthy wisdoms, so that one day, perhaps, we all no longer look in those unhealthy directions as a whole collective. But know this, you can make evils have no place in your mind, heart, body, or spirit. And try to keep in mind that your mind is always thinking while you're conscious and aware, even while you sleep. And also keep in mind, prayer is just a conversation of thought. And God is always answering, listening, and showing. Well, that's what that was. And another thing that I wrote coincides kind of with this. Weird. I guess they kind of came, they came at separate times, but there's a lot of, parallel with what I'm about to read in that. But this is coming from my book, one of my books that I have written. And it's basically a lesson from one of the teachers in a book to the pupils, and it fits really well. And it's kind of to help further that message of keeping things in mind about thought and about God and all, how you can see it and how you can really experience it and how you can, build that faith. And this is called the 5 steps, and it's something to keep in mind while navigating through this life. That's a good way to put it, I guess. So this is called the 5 steps. Step 1, fear not. Ignorance is to awareness as breathing is to the lungs. Without a fresh perspective, then understanding can become undone. For if we are to stop breathing, the lungs will suffer and weaken. Much like the importance to words, you must understand what you are speaking. You understand to breathe, and you do it with no fear. You breathe with a thoughtless effort, and your mind stays clear. Fear not the ignorance, which is your awareness, because you must learn something new for a future preparedness. And whatever that may be, it will continue to grow, and those fearless energies are what's healthiest for the soul. Step 2, mindfulness. To remain fearless, we must keep a keen mind, always aware of all the healthy wisdoms that we find. And with those healthy wisdoms, we are uninhabitable for fear to take hold, and these wisdoms are naturally passed down to the young by the old. Be mindful of your environment. Try to observe its entirety. What you will see is a nature that's balanced and inspiring. Be mindful of others, for our minds connected are stronger, and when energy is healthy and combined, it resonates longer. Step 3, prayer. Without being mindful, we would not know prayer. And if we did not know this, we would be less aware. If we are less aware, we can become more vulnerable. And if we are more vulnerable, we become more controllable. And the way through is within a thought which shed light onto a realization which sparked an action that manifested a tangible creation, a creation which heightens how well you are aware. It is an understanding there is no difference between thought and prayer. If our creative intentions are good, the good will mirror our inventions. We are to create for the greater good, and equality should never be in contention. I pray for good health. I pray it evolves. I pray if you feel sickness that your virus dissolves. Step 4, connections. The essence of prayer is that of a loving connection. It's how we receive good guidance, and it's a shield of protection. We must understand many things had to bond to build you, from your muscles and your bones to all of your delicate tissue. And nature will not lie to you when showing you healthy fusion. So keep your thoughts healthy and focused, and you will be led through any confusion. It takes two for a relationship to form, and they are formed because one seeks an embrace. An embrace is a connection that is safe. Step 5, love always. The connections aren't healthy if they aren't balanced with love. It's compassion and kindness woven together like a hand-fitted glove. And with these ingredients, we prepare the healthiest meal. And we are to share the healthy recipes, never to withhold or conceal. Balance with love, love with balance. With love in mind, one can overcome any challenge. Love is in all life, in the things that construct us all. Love is the immunity to any destructive fall. Spread love and kindness. Let it guide all alive on this land. If we never abandon its healthy wisdoms, well, then more and more will begin to understand. Love, beauty, and peace for all. For all are a piece of beauty and love. God bless.